The Marvel Cinematic Universe has long been a fan favorite, but even MCU's most dedicated fans can't deny the drop in quality in Marvel's latest projects. Is the superhero franchise that kick-started cinematic universes and made them the norm actually struggling to stay relevant? And what could be the cause of such a startling decline? The Russo brothers may have a hunch, and they openly spoke about their parent corporation's limitations. Here's everything you need to know about the interview. First up, let's talk about the MCU downfall. Well, downfall may be an overstatement considering just how popular MCU movies are and how they almost always perform really well at the box office. In fact, some may even say they overperform at the box office, especially in the first week of releases, considering the quality of the storyline they may possess. For example, let's take the most recent example of an MCU theater release project, Thor: Love and Thunder. Surprisingly enough, under Taika Waititi's directorship once more, Thor: Love and Thunder failed to replicate the magnificent success of Thor: Ragnarok, which is what awarded Waititi his fame amongst MCU fans in the first place. Since Love and Thunder's release and its first week's business of $144 million, which was an all-time high for the Thor sub-franchise, the numbers have taken quite a drastic hit, 67.7% in its second week, in fact, which makes it the second worst performing MCU project to date, surpassing only Black Widow with its 67.8% decline. But even so, one could argue that Black Widow's dual release on the Disney Plus streaming service, along with a widespread theatrical release, is what caused its lost predicament. Thor: Love and Thunder has no such excuse to back its bad performance on a theatrical scale, except for perhaps word of mouth. But Thor: Love and Thunder is not an exception, as we'll discuss. But you know what actually may be considered an anomaly in the numbers we discuss going forward? Spider-Man: No Way Home. Now, if you're anything like us, you may have also been super shocked after hearing that No Way Home is considered MCU's third worst performing movie in its second week to date. After all, we know it as clear as day, just how widely loved the movie was for its cameos and plotline. Deadline, the source that released these figures, especially mentioned the movie to be an outlier in the equation due to the timing of the holiday, not to mention just how much it earned every single day of its release. But to be perfectly honest, most, if not all, MCU movies released recently have declined by around the same percentage, somewhere in the 60s in their second week of release. So it's not like Thor: Love and Thunder is a super weird result. Although even so, the hype around Thor: Love and Thunder is not nearly as massive as its predecessor in the franchise. The critical reviews have been at best lukewarm and at worst harsh, so it's understandable that not many are in a hurry to watch it. But maybe critic reviews aren't the only deciding factor in how well a movie does. Maybe, as the Russo brothers explained, it's Disney itself. Turns out, according to a recent Hollywood Reporter interview, the Russo brothers, who have gifted the MCU with classics like Infinity War, Endgame, and the last two Captain America movies, it would not be an overstatement to say that they're one of the most prominent faces of the MCU. The brotherly duo, Anthony and Joe, recently talked about how Disney is very much responsible for the current condition the franchise has found itself in. That is the constant knocking down of the movies by both critics and viewers alike. It's been a while since MCU has given the world a project that has been totally good. As for now, with the TV shows and movies both getting slammed by viewers, the future of Phase 4 of the MCU does not look good. The quality of the content has definitely suffered to an extent, or perhaps fans have just started expecting more from the MCU than it is able to provide. Now what, pray tell, is the Disney umbrella? According to the brothers in an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, the Disney umbrella, aka the hold and control Disney possesses over MCU projects due to being its parent corporation, definitely plays a big role in how new MCU content is pumped out. Before we get into that though, let's take a moment to discuss the casual accusations that have been occasionally hurled at Disney over the years. They're often criticized for wanting to check all the boxes of a list. That is to say, broadening their target audience at the mildly expensive cost of the plotline suffering. Now, from a business standpoint, this makes sense, but many believe that Disney can definitely step out of its bubble of self-importance every once in a while and see if the pros outweigh outweigh the risks in some of these cases. Which brings us to the other thing Disney is heavily criticized for, and this also connects with the previous complaint lodged against the conglomerate. Disney's desperation to appease as large of an audience as possible can result in the conglomerate trying to suffocate anything that might be considered even vaguely offensive in certain areas of the world. This leads to them being kind of cautious and conservative in their approach to any and all projects involved. This can lead to many of their projects seeming unoriginal and nothing out of the ordinary. Playing safe to appease everyone may just be what's killing the popularity of the beloved but dwindling MCU franchise, and that is exactly what the brother duo touched upon. And we're sure you're curious about what the Russos said, so here goes. Now, bear in mind that it's huge for them to go out of their way to name drop Disney and blame the conglomerate for Phase 4's startling lack of popularity. Anyway, on the subject, they said that they also think that Disney's gone very conservative. They particularly mentioned that after Bob Iger, Disney seems to be in IP management mode. So for example, we're going to get all the Star Wars and all the Marvel we can handle for the next decade. According to the brothers, they're all changing. It's either a reinforced conservative approach from your traditional studios, or it's forcing a tech company like Netflix to rethink its entire model. Anthony chimed in to say, there's so much content spread over so many creators and providers that it almost doesn't matter. If part of the model weakens, there are other parts of the model. Top Gun: Maverick is ready and waiting to benefit. But is there any truth to the statement? And not to sound dramatic, but you can already see the truth in that statement affecting Disney content even now. The newer movies seem to be very conservative in their approach to sensitive topics, and there's even talk of shortening the length of these projects from Marvel down to under 2 hours per movie, which, if you're all familiar with MCU movies as of late, will make you feel all sorts of uncomfortable. Marvel's lack of boldness in their projects is visible as day, and even though Disney's control on IP benefits MCU, it definitely cannot be denied at all that the quality of their recent projects is dropping very much. Part of why MCU, which has in the past commented on Nazis and other sensitive topics in their own way, is being stingy with quality, thought-provoking content, may just be because Disney has always preferred to keep their activism more performative than literal. Disney's social commentary has long been just cringe dialogue that tries to appease a specific community more so than it does anything else worthwhile. The criticism of Disney's performative activism shines brightest in supposedly feminist one-liners that only make viewers of all genders feel secondhand embarrassment. According to Fandom Wire, with Disney's conservative attitude presiding over the works of Marvel, the directors of their projects fail to take risks and induce any innovation at all. And that is how we end up getting those same old-school, formula-centric superhero movies and shows with little to no originality. Is Disney hurting Marvel Phase 4 legitimately? Well, the comments made by Anthony and Joe are quite helpful in the sense that they clarify a lot of things and help sketch out the easily altered state of the industry. When it comes to how content is consumed, the two seem to be some of the few directors that are actually open and embracing the shift towards streaming. Now, while they're still very much into the idea of creating whole, eventful masterpieces for the big screen, they're also open to smaller theatrical windows. Disney, however, is bent on maintaining the theatrical avenue as the main route for its larger, more financially viable projects, and even releases episodes of certain shows in theaters for a more extravagant experience. And that's all for this video. What are your opinions on Disney's conservative ways, perhaps being the reason for MCU's Phase 4 being unable to pick up the same momentum as past phases? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed watching the video, be sure to leave a like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications by pressing the bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And we will see you next time. Thank you for watching.